She has coached several Caribbean authors to become Amazon best-selling authors. Her mission is to raise up 10,000 winning Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030 to ensure fewer books die in the minds of their authors, that more manuscripts become published legacies, and precious lives are transformed with the turn of every page.
Greetings, entrepreneurs. It's another Authorpreneur Secrets Masterclass, episode 9. And I'm starting a brand new series called Beyond the Book Launch. And I'm looking at 15 different ways that you can keep your book alive, sell more books, and make a living with your writing beyond the book launch. Because the truth is, after the book launch, most authors don't have a plan. At least in my experience working in the Caribbean, everything is up to the launch. And then after the launch, that's it. It's almost as if we have a mindset that everything is just up to the launch, and after the launch, the book is dead. And I'm saying that we can keep our books alive. We can keep the sales going after the book launch. And I'm sharing 15 different ways you can do that from this book, Authorpreneur Secrets, Write Fast, Publish Cost Effectively, and Generate Lasting Income. So I'm going to take 15 weeks to go through what those are. I'm not sure I can show my slide, so I may just have to talk this one out because it's rather easy. I prepared some slides, but I'm not seeing where and how to upload those with the device that I'm on, unfortunately. Anyway, Masterclass is in session. I'm C. Ruth Taylor, founder of Authorpreneur Secrets. I am the author of over 25 books, I think 29, last counting, an Amazon bestseller. And I work with independent authors to publish books that will help them to build legacy, change lives, create financial freedom. And I also train and certify publishing coaches, book formaters, and other publishing services providers because I have a vision, and that is to raise up 10,000 author entrepreneurs by 2030. And in particular, those who will go beyond book sales. Nothing is wrong with book sales. I'm trying to help us to change the trajectory because based on the stats that I've shared over some in another episode, many authors don't sell more than 1,000 books, right? In the book's lifetime. And so those that are selling millions are really very often the outliers. That's a small percentage of the community. And therefore, what is the rest of us to do, especially if you want to make a living with books? And so this that I'm about to share is also very helpful because it will keep the book alive and it can put money in your pocket and you can make a living with it. So let's get on with it. This evening should be short. We're talking about events. And by events, I'm talking about online events, offline events, and what I'm going to call your signature event. All right. So had I been able to show my slide, I had a couple events here that I wanted to show how I have been doing it, but I can't seem to find that button to upload. To upload my slide, and so I guess I'll just have to go on without it. Sorry about that. All right, so events, books and events. You can do online events. That event can be organized by yourself or organized by others. What am I talking about? A seminar. You can organize seminars around your book topic. You can do boot camps. You can do webinars, you can do conferences, you can do workshops, you can do meetups, get together, you can attend book fairs, you can all kinds of events, both online and offline. During the pandemic, there was a lot of Zoom became popular. It was there before, and everything was being held online. So you even had book launches. Your book launch is an event. And usually a book launch is successful. You are guaranteed to sell some books. You can have multiple book launches. So let's put book launch plural. You can have a book launch and combine it with something else. So it could be a book and business launch. It could be a book launch and birthday celebration. Like I used to do books, business, and birthday launches, triple treasure celebration every year. 2018 was the first I did that, and I launched my Authorpreneur Secrets Academy. It was an in-person event. And so beyond the book launch, after that, I did a tour, a book tour. So you can do book tours. That is a series of events that you can do. And like I was saying, you could have launch-like activities in different countries, in different parishes, in different places. You can do book signing events. Some people have pop-up book signings. If there is an event taking place, like at the library or something being planned related to your topic, if it's a book fair, you can go there as well. Chances are you will sell some books. So online events, offline. With this very same book, I converted the content to a boot camp, and that was a live event, paid event, and that worked, right? Because the last boot camp I had, I think it was 300 US for it. Now, the book itself at the time was being sold for what, 2,500? This new version, the hardcover, is 47 US or 7,000 Jamaican, and the paperback is 5,000. And that event, at the time when I had it, I think it was 2019, um, it was 300 US for it, right? And so that was beyond the launch. And I had an online book launch for the original book for this, and that kept the book alive. So you have online events, you have in-person events, you have events that you plan, events that are planned by somebody else. So you can partner with folks for your events. I have, for example, to keep this book alive, every year I have what I call my signature event. This is a main event associated with the book that you can use to promote the book, teach from the book. And some persons, I remember Bishop Carla Dunbar, one year she had this singles event that included the price of her book. I mean, that lady has taught me so much. And so whether it's the workshop, the conference, the boot camp, the seminar, you can make it the book. Sometimes the title of the book can be the name of the event. So each year I have the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit. That is my signature event put on by the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy, right? So that's my signature event, but it is based on this. And when I'm having the event, I make sure I talk about this book, that this is coming from this book, and I encourage folks to get the book. And so that is something that I'm doing every year, and people can look forward to it. That is what you call now a signature event. So it's a main event that you can have year after year, and you use it to promote your book. So if you're having a conference or a signature event, or if you have a signature workshop, that workshop maybe is a 1 hour presentation on a particular topic that's tied to the book. You can take that event from place to place. If you're working with churches, say it's a devotional series or a teaching series, For example, one of my authors, his book is personal evangelism. He's doing training. And so he takes that training event from church to church, place to place. And his book is a text for it. And so long after the book launch, years to come, that is still working in his favor to sell more books and keep the book alive. You see, your book has earning potential up to, for those in the Caribbean, 95 years after your death. In the US, I think the copyright is 70 years. You want to write books that when you pass away, your family or somebody else, if you're incapacitated, can take the book, create an event and run with it. And I'm talking mostly non-fiction here, but it can also work with fiction because you can still have a conference, a workshop, a webinar, a party, some kind of get together. Say it's your book about your mom's memoir, your grandmother's memoir. Depending on the profession, career, the person, every year you could have like a memorial event, something to celebrate the life of the person. If it's a memoir, and you have the books there that people can get together, and you have something in an event in honor of the person. If it is fiction, most fiction don't do this, but you can be creative with it. So I don't want to certain kind of fiction can lend itself to it. For example, one of our authors, our children's book is Donkey Say, right? It's a performance folk tale. And so she could have a performance event every year where the children are acting out the story Donkey Say, right? So that's an event, and that could become our signature event. It could be a creative arts event. Looking back at Donkey Say, sorry, I can't show everything on the screen. Looking back at Donkey Say, it could be a signature performance event with children, and that could be taken from city to city, church to church. That could be taken to different countries. So I remember I was invited to South Africa based on my first book, my story, Heartache Queen Unshackled. And we were doing a women's conference. And I got to speak at the women's conference, one in Uganda, one in South Africa. I didn't necessarily organize these events, but I went. They had this lovely event for this organization, and I was one of the speakers. Took my book at this event in another country, and books were sold. And when we say event, it doesn't necessarily have to be elaborate. Even if you have a Zoom webinar, that's an event. You can have weekly webinars where you are teaching. So this is part of content marketing. Even what I'm doing here can be considered an event. Each Thursday, I'm having this online session where I'm teaching. It could be a webinar, just different names. I'm sharing information, but it's also related to this book. And I'm sure somebody will be interested enough to go get the book. But I'm keeping the book alive, right? And so you want to create your signature event. Like I said, it could be a workshop, a boot camp, something tied to the book so that every year people can buy it, or it's an event that is packaged. Like for you, pastors or teachers, depending on the type of book, if it's you can say you have a 6-week teaching series that's packaged, it becomes your signature event, and you take that from place to place, church to church, and so you keep the book alive. uh and you can be creative. You can go to sea. If you, for example, depending on the subject that you write about, suppose you share your story, you're a hairdresser or somebody, every year you could have an event where maybe you put on a hair show and your book is there and you tell your story and you're doing hair. the book is kept alive. That's something you could do every year. It could be a concert. It could be, if your book is related to art, it could be an art show that you keep every year, or you team up with other artists to do the event and you can sell more books. So I trust that. I'm not going to spend long on these, but I've given you several ideas. You want to do online events or in-person events, and it can work both for fiction and non-fiction. You can have creative events, and you can create what I'm calling your signature event. It's a main event that you do. It's maybe like a presentation that you package and you create a session to share that from place to place, country to country, church to church. So it's almost like it's the same thing, but you're working it to different audiences, and you do that every year. Other people can run with it. Some people are having events. It's the 50th anniversary, it's the 10th anniversary, it's the 12th anniversary. And if you're doing a tour, that's an event, and you can take what you're doing, package it, and carry it from place to place. And that will ensure that one, you sell more books, you keep the book alive, and the events can end up paying you double. You can get paid to speak at the event, you can charge for the event itself, and you can sell books. So that's three ways you could get paid there. So that's all I have to share as it relates to event. And I trust that you found this insightful. So stay tuned next week. I'll be talking about courses as another thing that you can do to keep the book alive, and something you can do to make a living with your book without selling many books. I see some people just coming on when we're about to wrap up. Thanks for joining. But I gotta go. And if you want to learn more about those tricks and tips, those secrets, they're right here in this book. Ta for now. Until next time. Bye. I trust you found this inspiring.